What happens when one of the greatest footballers of all time sits down for what should be a simple morning show interview, and it turns into one of the most explosive moments in live television history? The tension between Cristiano Ronaldo and Michael Strahan on the Today show didn't just make headlines. It revealed something raw and unfiltered about fame, respect, and the line between journalism and provocation. Before we get into exactly what was said that made Ronaldo lose his composure on live television, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what you think really triggered this entire situation. Now, let's dive into what actually went down. The studio audience was buzzing with anticipation as Cristiano Ronaldo walked onto the set. This was supposed to be a promotional interview, a chance to discuss his latest ventures, his foundation work, and maybe some light football talk. Michael Strahan greeted him with his signature smile. They shook hands, exchanged pleasantries, and settled into their chairs. The cameras were rolling, the lights were bright, and everything seemed perfectly normal. But what was about to unfold would be anything but ordinary. Strahan opened with what seemed like a friendly question. So, Cristiano, you've had an incredible career. Absolutely incredible. But I want to ask you something that I think a lot of people are curious about. You're at a stage now where many players your age have already retired or moved into coaching. Do you ever feel like you're holding on too long? Like maybe it's time to pass the torch? There was a pause, not a long one, but enough for anyone watching closely to notice a shift in Ronaldo's expression. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes anymore. He leaned forward slightly, his hands clasped together. That's an interesting way to start this conversation, Michael. I came here to talk about my work, my achievements, the things I'm building for the future, but you want to talk about whether I should quit. Strahan maintained his composure, still smiling. I'm just asking what people want to know. Cristiano, you're 40 years old now. That's ancient in football years. Lionel Messi has already said he's winding down. Don't you think there's something admirable about knowing when to step away? Ronaldo's jaw tightened. Ancient? You just called me ancient on your show. Let me tell you something, Michael. Age is just a number. I'm still scoring goals, still breaking records, still competing at the highest level. When I decide to retire, it will be my decision, not because someone on a morning talk show thinks I'm too old. Strahan leaned back in his chair, clearly not expecting this level of pushback so early. Hey, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just having a conversation here. But since we're talking about it, let's be real. Your performance numbers have declined. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. You're not the same player you were 5 years ago. The audience had gone quiet now. This wasn't the light-hearted banter they had expected. Ronaldo's eyes narrowed. My numbers have declined? I scored 35 goals last season. 35. How many athletes in any sport at my age are still performing at that level? You played American football. You retired at 36. I'm still going strong, and you have the audacity to sit there and question my relevance. Strahan shifted in his seat. Football is different from soccer, Cristiano. The physical demands are different. And I'm not questioning your talent. I'm questioning whether you're being honest with yourself about where you are in your career. There's no shame in admitting that father time catches up with everyone. Ronaldo's voice rose slightly. Father time? You want to talk about father time? I train harder than players half my age. I have the discipline, the dedication, the hunger that most people will never understand. You think I don't know what I'm capable of? I've won everything there is to win in this sport. Everything. And I'm still not done. Strahan nodded slowly. Okay, I hear you, but let me ask you this. If you've won everything, if you've proven everything, what are you still trying to prove? Who are you trying to prove it to? That question hung in the air. Ronaldo stared at Strahan for a long moment. Who am I trying to prove it to? I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I play because I love the game. I play because I'm the best at what I do. But let me ask you something, Michael. Why are you trying so hard to tear me down right now? Is this what you do on this show? Invite successful people just to question their worth. Strahan's smile faded. I'm not tearing you down. I'm asking tough questions. That's what journalists do. If you can't handle a few tough questions, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. Ronaldo's response was sharp. Tough questions? You're not asking tough questions. You're being disrespectful. There's a difference between journalism and trying to get a viral moment for your show. Which one is this, Michael? The tension was palpable now. Strahan tried to regain control of the interview. Look, I think we got off on the wrong foot here. Let's talk about something else, your brand, your business ventures. You've built an empire outside of football. How do you balance all of that? Ronaldo wasn't letting it go that easily. No, we're not moving on yet. You started this conversation by questioning whether I should retire. You called me ancient. You said my numbers have declined. And now you want to just move on like that didn't happen? You don't get to do that. Strahan's expression hardened. Cristiano, I'm trying to have a professional conversation here. If you don't want to answer my questions, that's fine, but don't accuse me of being disrespectful when I'm just doing my job. Your job. Ronaldo's voice was rising again. Your job is to sit here in a comfortable chair and question people who have actually done something with their lives. I've worked every single day for decades to be where I am. I've sacrificed. I've pushed my body to limits you can't imagine. And you think you can sit there and judge me? The audience was completely silent now. Strahan tried once more to de-escalate. I'm not judging you, Cristiano. I respect everything you've accomplished, but you have to understand when you're in the public eye the way you are, people are going to have opinions. I'm just expressing what a lot of people are thinking. And there it was, that phrase, what a lot of people are thinking. Ronaldo's expression changed. It wasn't just anger anymore. It was something deeper. A lot of people? You mean people who don't know anything about football? People who watch a few games and think they understand what it takes to be great. Those people. Strahan didn't back down. I mean people who love the sport, who follow your career, who maybe just want to see you go out on top instead of hanging on until you're not effective anymore. Ronaldo stood up suddenly. The movement was so abrupt that Strahan actually flinched. Not effective? I'm not effective? Do you even watch football, Michael? Or do you just read headlines and form opinions? Strahan remained seated, trying to maintain his authority. Sit down, Cristiano. We're in the middle of an interview. Ronaldo didn't sit. No, I think we're done here. This isn't an interview. This is an ambush. You brought me here under false pretenses to make yourself look tough by going after me. Strahan remained seated, looking up at Ronaldo, who was now standing over him. The power dynamic in the room had completely shifted. Sit down, Cristiano. We're in the middle of an interview. Ronaldo didn't sit. No, I think we're done here. This isn't an interview. This is an ambush. You brought me here under false pretenses to make yourself look tough by going after me. Well, congratulations. You got your moment. Strahan stood up now, matching Ronaldo's energy. Nobody ambushed you. You agreed to come on this show. You knew we'd ask real questions. If you can't handle that, then maybe you're not as mentally tough as you think you are. That comment landed like a bomb. Ronaldo's eyes flashed with intensity. Not mentally tough? I've faced criticism my entire career. I've been booed, insulted, doubted at every turn, and every single time, I've proven everyone wrong. But what you're doing right now isn't criticism. This is disrespect. And I won't stand here and accept it. The producers were frantically signaling from off-camera. This had gone completely off the rails. Strahan seemed caught between wanting to continue and knowing this had crossed a line. He took a breath. Okay, look. Clearly, we have different perspectives here. Let's just agree to disagree and move forward. I didn't mean to offend you. Ronaldo shook his head. You didn't mean to offend me? Everything you've said since I sat down has been designed to offend me. You question my age, my performance, my decision-making. What part of that wasn't meant to be offensive? Strahan's frustration was showing. I asked legitimate questions that any sports journalist would ask. You're being overly sensitive. Overly sensitive? Ronaldo's voice was controlled but intense. When you work as hard as I have, when you achieve what I've achieved, and someone tries to diminish it, that's not being sensitive. That's standing up for yourself and your legacy. Strahan crossed his arms. I reached the highest level in my sport. I won a Super Bowl. I was a Hall of Famer. Don't act like I don't understand what it takes to be great. Ronaldo didn't miss a beat. You had a great career in American football. Congratulations. But we're talking about global football, the most popular sport in the world. We're talking about sustaining excellence for 2 decades, not retiring at 36 because your body couldn't take it anymore. The audience gasped. That was a direct shot. Strahan's face reddened. You're out of line right now. Way out of line. I invited you on this show as a courtesy, and this is how you act. A courtesy? Ronaldo laughed, but there was no humor in it. You invited me on because I bring ratings. Because people want to hear what I have to say. Don't act like you did me a favor. Your show needs guests like me more than I need shows like this. Strahan stepped closer, his voice dropping. You might be Cristiano Ronaldo on the football field, but right here, Right now, you're a guest on my show, and you need to show some respect. Respect goes both ways, Michael. You lost mine the moment you started this interview with an agenda instead of genuine curiosity. You know what your problem is? You're jealous. You had to stop playing your sport, and now you see someone like me still thriving, still relevant, and it bothers you. Strahan's eyes widened. Jealous of you? I have nothing to be jealous about. I moved on from my playing career and built something new. Maybe that's what you're afraid of, that when you finally do retire, no one will care anymore. The words hung in the air like poison. Ronaldo took a step back, his expression shifting from anger to something colder. There it is. That's what this is really about. You want to see me fail. You want to see me humbled, because in your mind that makes your own exit from sports more acceptable. Strahan pointed a finger. Don't psychoanalyze me. You don't know anything about me or my motivations. I know enough. Ronaldo's voice was steady now, almost calm. I know that you're using your platform to push your own insecurities onto me. I know that instead of celebrating excellence, you're trying to tear it down. And I know that this interview is over. Strahan threw his hands up. Fine, walk off. Run away. That's a great look for someone who claims to be mentally tough. Ronaldo turned back, his jaw set. I'm not running from anything. I'm choosing not to waste any more of my time with someone who doesn't deserve it. You want tough? I'll give you tough. I'll be playing football when I'm 45, still breaking records, still proving people like you wrong. And you'll still be here asking other athletes when they're going to quit, because that's all you know how to do now. Strahan's expression darkened. That's a cheap shot, and you know it. I'm proud of what I've built after football. I didn't need to keep playing into my 40s to prove something to myself, or anyone else. Maybe that's the difference between us. I knew when to walk away with dignity. Dignity. Ronaldo's voice cut through the tension. You think there's dignity in quitting while you still have something left? I think there's dignity in giving everything you have until there's nothing left to give. That's the difference between us, Michael. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of people seeing me struggle, because I know that even on my worst day, I'm still better than most. Strahan shook his head. That's arrogance talking. That's ego. And that ego is going to make you hold on so long that people will remember you for how you ended, not how great you were. Ronaldo stepped closer again. You want to talk about ego? Let's talk about ego. You sit in that chair every morning and decide who deserves respect and who doesn't. You decide whose career is valid and whose isn't. You play judge and jury over people's life work. And you have the nerve to call me arrogant? At least I earned my platform on the field. What have you done lately besides talk? The audience was completely frozen. This had gone from uncomfortable to explosive. Strahan's voice raised. What have I done? I've built a successful career in broadcasting. I've won awards. I've interviewed presidents, celebrities, the biggest names in the world. I don't need to justify myself to you. Awards for talking, Ronaldo shot back. Congratulations. I have awards for being the best in the world at what I do. Not the best talker, not the best interviewer, the best player. There's a difference. Strahan was visibly angry now. You know what your problem is, Cristiano? You can't handle anyone questioning you. You've surrounded yourself with yes men for so long that you forgot what real criticism sounds like. Everyone kisses your feet, tells you you're amazing. And the second someone asks a legitimate question, you fall apart. Fall apart. Ronaldo's laugh was harsh. I'm not falling apart. I'm responding to disrespect with honesty. You want to see me fall apart? You'll be waiting a long time. I've dealt with tougher criticism from better people than you. The difference is, they had the credentials to question me. You're just a retired player with a microphone. Strahan's jaw clenched. At least I know when to be humble. At least I can admit when I'm not the best anymore. You can't even have an honest conversation about your own decline without throwing a tantrum. Decline. Ronaldo's eyes blazed. Show me the decline. Show me where I'm not performing. Show me where I'm not delivering. You keep saying these things like they're facts, but you have nothing to back it up except your opinion. And frankly, your opinion means nothing to me. It should mean something, Strahan fired back. Because I'm saying what millions of people are thinking. They're tired of watching you chase glory that you already have. They're tired of the spectacle. They want to see you go out gracefully, not desperately clinging to relevance. Ronaldo's voice went quiet, which somehow made it more powerful. Millions of people? You speak for millions of people now? Let me tell you what millions of people actually think. They think I'm an inspiration. They think I'm proof that age doesn't matter if you have the will. They think I'm someone who never gives up, never backs down, never lets anyone tell them what they can't do. Those are the millions that matter to me. Not you, not your audience, not anyone who wants to see me quit. Strahan threw his hands up. This is pointless. You're not hearing anything I'm saying. You're so wrapped up in your own legend that you can't see reality anymore. Reality? Ronaldo's voice rose again. My reality is that I'm still one of the highest paid athletes in the world. My reality is that stadiums still sell out to watch me play. My reality is that I have more followers, more influence, more impact than you'll ever have. That's my reality, Michael. What's yours? That you get to sit here and try to tear down people greater than you. Greater than me? Strahan's voice was sharp. You're not greater than me. You're just more famous. There's a difference. Ronaldo smiled, but it wasn't friendly. You're right. There is a difference. Fame fades. Greatness is forever. And history will remember who was truly great and who was just along for the ride. The tension in the studio was suffocating. A producer finally stepped onto the set, trying to intervene. Gentlemen, maybe we should take a break, regroup. Ronaldo interrupted, his eyes never leaving Strahan. We're finishing this now. Michael wanted a real interview. Wanted tough questions. Wanted authenticity. Well, here it is. This is as authentic as it gets. So, let me ask you a question for once. Why did you really bring me on this show? Was it to have a conversation, or was it to try and make yourself feel bigger by making me feel smaller? Strahan's response was immediate. I brought you on because you're news. Because people are talking about whether you should retire. Because it's a relevant conversation that needs to be had. Needs to be had, Ronaldo challenged. Or needs to be had on your terms, on your show, so you can be the one who got Cristiano Ronaldo to admit he's finished? Is that what this is about? Getting that headline? Getting that viral clip? Strahan stared at Ronaldo, the accusation hanging between them. Maybe I do want that headline. Maybe I do want that clip. Because someone needs to ask you these questions, and clearly, no one in your circle has the guts to do it. Ronaldo nodded slowly. There it is. The truth, finally. You don't care about journalism. You don't care about having a real conversation. You care about clicks. You care about views. You care about your show's ratings. And you thought you could use me to get them. Strahan didn't deny it. That's how this business works. Cristiano, you of all people should understand that. You've built your entire brand on being controversial, on being polarizing. Don't act surprised when someone uses the same playbook on you. The difference is I back it up on the field. Ronaldo's voice was steel. Every time. Without fail. I don't just talk about greatness. I demonstrate it week after week, year after year. What do you demonstrate, Michael? How to ask loaded questions. How to bait guests into arguments. That's your contribution. Strahan's face was flushed now. My contribution is giving people honest conversations. Real talk. Not the sanitized, PR-approved garbage that most celebrities spew. I thought you'd appreciate that. I thought someone like you would want to have a real discussion. This isn't a discussion, Ronaldo cut him off sharply. This is an interrogation. This is you trying to get me to say what you want me to say. And when I don't play along, when I don't give you the sound bite you're looking for, you get frustrated. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not here to make your job easier. Strahan laughed bitterly. Disappoint me? You haven't disappointed me, Cristiano. You've confirmed exactly what I thought. You can't handle criticism. You can't handle anyone challenging your narrative. You're so used to being worshipped that you've forgotten how to be human. Human. Ronaldo's voice dropped dangerously low. You want to see human? I'll show you human. I'm a father who works every single day to provide for his family and be an example for his children. I'm a son who came from nothing and made something of himself through pure dedication. I'm a man who gives millions to charity, who builds hospitals, who changes lives. What are you besides a voice on television? The audience shifted uncomfortably. This had gone far beyond a contentious interview. Strahan's voice was tight. I'm someone who earned everything I have. I'm someone who doesn't need to constantly remind people how great I am. I let my work speak for itself. Your work. Ronaldo gestured around the studio. This is your work. Sitting in a comfortable studio, reading questions off cards, collecting a paycheck. You think that's comparable to what I do? To the pressure I face every single match, to the expectations, the scrutiny, the constant judgment. Strahan stepped forward. You chose that life. You wanted the fame, the money, the attention. Don't complain about it now. If you can't handle the pressure anymore, then do something else. No one's forcing you to keep playing. That's where you're wrong, Ronaldo said quietly. I'm not complaining. I'm clarifying. There's a difference between handling pressure and tolerating disrespect. I can handle any pressure on the field. What I won't tolerate is someone like you trying to diminish my legacy for ratings. Legacy? Strahan's voice was sharp again. Your legacy is already written, Cristiano. Nothing you do now changes it. You're one of the greatest ever. Everyone knows that. But you're so obsessed with being relevant that you can't see you're damaging that legacy by not knowing when to stop. Ronaldo shook his head. You don't get to decide when my story ends. You don't get to write the final chapter. I do. And I'll decide when I'm done. Not you, not the media, not anyone. When I walk away from this sport, it will be on my terms, in my time. And until then, everyone else can have their opinions. I'll be too busy proving them wrong. Strahan looked exhausted suddenly. Fine. Do whatever you want. Play until you're 50 if that's what your ego needs, but don't expect everyone to cheer you on. Some of us will tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hear it. The truth? Ronaldo's expression was cold. The truth is that you're bitter. The truth is that you see someone still thriving in their sport while you had to leave yours, and it bothers you. The truth is that this entire interview was designed to make me look bad, and instead you've exposed yourself. The truth is painful, isn't it, Michael? Strahan didn't respond immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was measured. I think we're done here. We've been done. Ronaldo turned to walk off the set, then paused and looked back. You know what the saddest part of all this is? I actually respected you. I thought you were different. I thought you understood what it meant to be great, to compete at the highest level. But you're just like everyone else who couldn't cut it anymore. You want company in your retirement, and you're not going to get it from me. With that, Ronaldo removed his microphone and walked off the set. The studio was silent except for his footsteps echoing as he left. Strahan stood there watching him go, his expression unreadable. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of the aftermath. The audience didn't know whether to applaud, gasp, or sit in stunned silence. They chose silence. Strahan finally turned to the camera, trying to regain some composure. Well, that was certainly unexpected. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. But everyone watching knew there was no coming back from what just happened. This wasn't just a heated interview. This was a moment that would define both men in different ways. For Ronaldo, it was another example of his refusal to back down, his unwillingness to let anyone tell him his time was up. For Strahan, it was a reminder that some guests can't be controlled, and some conversations reveal more than intended. So, what do you think really caused this explosion? Was Strahan out of line with his questions, or was Ronaldo being too sensitive? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, because we're going to be breaking down the fallout from this interview in our next video. Was this the end of Ronaldo's media appearances, or just the beginning of an even bigger story? Let us know what you think happened here.